Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are joining us from in the world. Welcome to another Operation Separation. I'm your host, Shel Shapiro, and with me today is the amazing Carla Howard. We're going to be talking about living your dream life, and I am so excited to have this conversation because it's something that I'm trying to establish for myself so that I'm not living in somebody else's shadow. Um, Carla, welcome to Operation Separation. Thank you so much for being here. Tell everybody a little bit more about yourself.
Well, gosh, thank you. I'm excited to be here. This is a topic that I just love. It's just so dear to my heart is how do we get out of our own ways so that we can really live our dream life? I built a career in corporate, and 3 years ago, I stepped into full-time entrepreneurship. I got a little pushed out of the nest with a layoff and decided to become a full-time entrepreneur. And so today, the umbrella that I have products and services under is helping people get from where they are today to where they want to be tomorrow. And I do that through a variety of things. So I do strategic change consulting inside of organizations. And then I also help people on a more entrepreneurial side. So I help kind and ambitious women build the entrepreneur business of their dreams. I'm a keynote speaker, and I have a program where I help people get paid from the stage. So not the how do you become a great speaker side, what package do I need? What content do I need? And how do I use that then to bring in revenue into my business? So that is the big umbrella of things that I do. And I am excited to be here and chat with you about just all the things around living our dream lives.
Yeah. So would you say that you're living your dream life right now?
Yes. You know, it was scary though. I'll tell you, when I got laid off from corporate, first of all, I was really sad about it because I'm not one of those people that, hated corporate and couldn't wait to get out. I always had this little dream where I would be an entrepreneur and, doing my own thing, working on the projects I wanted to work on. But when I got laid off, it was like such a hit. Like it felt shameful and it felt just ugly. And I knew I wanted to go be an entrepreneur, but I really struggled to to get out and talk about my work, like on platforms like LinkedIn, because my old colleagues were there, right?
Yeah.
So it was definitely a journey. And today, when I think about where my business is and where I'm going and the people that I'm helping along the way, I feel so expansive and just grateful to be doing this work. So yeah, absolutely. Today, yes, it was a bit of work to get here, I would say.
Yeah. I love that. I would say for me, like I don't feel like I'm necessarily living my dream life just yet. I feel like I have the baby steps. I'm taking the baby steps, the little actions to build what I want that to look like. And so I feel very much like I'm on that path and I will get there. And like I'm like so close, I can just taste it. I can feel it. And I know that it's coming because I'm heading in a direction that feels good. So I think this is such an important conversation because I know so many more people that are wanting that, wanting to like live their best life, live their dream life, and feel good about it no matter what part they're on, what step of the way they are, or where they're at. Um, and yeah, I wasn't necessarily like in corporate previously. Like I worked for a smaller company, but I also didn't feel like I hated it and wanted to get out. It wasn't the work that I hated. It was all the things around me that created this toxic work environment that was no longer livable for me. It
Yep.
was banging my head up against the wall and asking for change, trying to implement change, create change, and it just falling flat. Like nobody wanted any of that because they had this clear vision of this is how we're going to do it. This is how it has to be. This is how it has to stay. And you're either going to be on board and help us build it, or you're going to be on board and help us build it. There's no other alternative because you're a key piece. And so it took me getting really sick and burnt out to realize this is not the way. And even when I left, becoming an entrepreneur, I originally had no plan. I had no idea what that was going to look like. And I didn't know that I was going to be an entrepreneur and do my own thing. I really thought I was going to go back to a 9 to 5, go back to like working for somebody else until I started healing. And I was like, nope, that is never going to happen again. So that's where this journey of living my dream life really started and like took fruition. And whether you're an entrepreneur or working for another company, I really want people to know that you can still live your dream life no matter where you're at. So I wanted to give my take on it too, because I feel like it's so important to understand that there's levels to this. That everybody is different. Everybody's experiencing life differently. So I want to ask, like, was there something that stopped you? I know you said you were pushed. You were like thrown out of the nest a little bit and had to like start creating it for yourself. But did you feel the pushback anywhere that was like keeping you from doing it head on, or did you just dive right into all the things to start creating that for yourself?
Yeah, I started a side hustle while I was in corporate. For me, financial security is a very high value for me. And so I liked the financial security of corporate, of knowing I have this much money coming in, I've got a spreadsheet. Like I valued that very much. And so I would say that was the thing that stopped me from ever going in completely. The other thing is I liked what I was doing. So I wasn't unhappy in my corporate job. I had a great job. I, was able to travel around the world. I have amazing colleagues that I was able to work with, and I was financially secure. So it wasn't something that I needed to go do, or I didn't feel like I was missing out on anything. When I got laid off, now I have a decision to make, right? Like, okay, do I go in and just do the full-time entrepreneur gig, or do I go find another company to work for? And my heart just really led me toward the entrepreneur side. So I really think the other thing, and as you were talking, I'll ask you a question, tell me if this is true for you or not.
Yeah.
I think we a lot of times are so forward facing that we don't even realize that the life we're living today is our dream life from 5 years ago. It's like if you look back to when you were ill and not feeling well, if you could have seen where Shell is today, you probably would have been dancing for joy, because holy cow, I'm going to achieve all of that. Like, this is amazing. I've written a book. I have a podcast. I'm an entrepreneur. Like, I get to make my own decisions. Amazing. I think many times we are actually living a version of our dream life today, and we do not take the time to recognize it because we're focused on what's next. I caught myself doing this last week. So I'm in this amazing content creators group, and I shared a rebrand of my program, and I asked for feedback in the group, and I made a lot of tweaks and changes on that. And then they started asking me questions about SEO and what does your data say and what webhooks do you have? And all of a sudden I got completely overwhelmed. I walked out and I said to my husband, oh my gosh, like I thought I was farther along than I am. And he's like, okay, just stop, because look where you are compared to where you were like 3 years ago. So, we look at this big vision for our lives and we want that thing. And in our mind, somehow we go from where we are right this minute to this huge vision. Like we don't see all the stops along the way. And I also believe that we can only dream so big. So like if I think about where my work is today and where I want it to go, I can dream pretty darn big. And there's even more beyond that I can't even visualize, because it's not, it's just not something I can see yet. I'll see it eventually. Yeah. But today where I'm at, I can only dream so big. So I have to do the trust fall and know that the path is going to become clear. My job is not to do all the things today. My job is to take a step today. My job is to help somebody else take a step today. And as I get more built, I have more connections, I reach more people, then my current life is going to expand. And when that happens, my dreams will expand along with it.
Yeah. And so I think to answer your question of was it that way for me? Um, yes and no. Yes, in that I started this entrepreneurial journey 3 years ago. Actually, 3 years ago, probably officially this week.
Wow.
So that's yeah, only just realized that now. Um, and so if I think back to where I thought I wanted to be within 3 to 5 years, yeah, I'm absolutely living that. I have freedom in my daily routine and what that looks like, and I'm creating the thing for myself, and I get to decide. And I didn't have that. I was just starting to scratch the surface of that 3 years ago. So I am absolutely living my dream life right now compared to 3 years ago when I was just starting on that journey. 5 years ago, when I was still working for somebody else and burnt out and feeling all the things and mad at the world and sad that nobody was helping and not feeling supported, um, I don't even know that I was dreaming beyond getting to the next day.
Yeah,
Uh,
sometimes survival is the dream, right? Like, I just have to make it through this week.
yeah, the dream was more like a fairy tale back then. The dream was still believing that it'll just get better. It'll just get better, but not really having any steps in place to make it better. It was when I hit that brick wall for that last time of like, I can no longer do this. There has
Yep.
got to be a better way. That's when the baby steps started happening to create it. But yeah, I didn't know. You don't know what you don't know. And so I think to your point of you can only dream so big, it's very true because as we grow and change, we also learn and expand our minds. And it's only until we can get to that next like level, that next expansion, that next learning period that we can see more clearly of what this is becoming, what we want it to look like.
Yeah.
So yeah, grow as you go or go as you grow, whichever way works for whichever way you want to say that, because I think they both sound true. And as far as taking those steps, those scary steps to keep moving forward and building that dream life, what would you say like the most crucial, like beyond like the obvious of start now, just do the thing, like what is like the starting point for somebody who knows that they want to change something, knows that they need the baby steps and they have to get started, like what can they start doing right now to take those steps, because they are scary.
They are scary. I love this question. And the cool thing about it is when you do take the steps, the fear dissipates immediately. Like the thing that you're thinking about doing, the second you take a step, the fear just it melts. It doesn't go completely away, but it certainly it just begins to dissipate. So I'll
Yeah.
give you a couple of things that I still do that I find incredibly helpful. The first one of my favorite things to say is, your business and your career are only as healthy as you are. And so you've got to focus on your health, whatever that means for you. For me, it means getting up and going for a walk almost every morning to get my body moving. And so really recognizing that, your physical health is a direct correlation with your business and your career health. One of the things that makes a huge difference in my life is visualization. And, some people are very comfortable with a visualization tape or a quiet meditation to really visualize what could their future look like. You will be, if you engage in a meditation practice, you'll be amazed at the feeling that it brings and the ideas that come to you while you're meditating. Another thing that I do is I'll incorporate both of those things. the walking and the meditation, and I call it meditation in motion. So I get up, I'm here in Phoenix, Arizona. It's hot. I get up around 4:30, and I'm usually out the door by 5. And I go for a walk, and it's a long walk. And one of the things that I do is for a period of time, 15, 20 minutes, I will really try to clear my mind while I'm walking and listen to the sounds of nature, like the leaves moving, the birds making sound, just really, really clear my mind. And where I live, you can see mountains. And I always think of my dreams as those mountains. It's like I can dream, I can imagine those mountains. I know what those mountains look like. They're beautiful. I think of my future as looking at the mountains. What I can't see is what's on the other side of the mountains. I know that there's something amazing over there. I can only dream that big. That's as big as I can go right now. And then I have to do the trust fall and say, okay, my job is not to know everything. My job is to set a vision and then take steps. So one of the things that I struggle with, and I'm not alone, a lot of entrepreneurs struggle with this, is the selling side of the business, right? And so yeah, it's hard, right? It's just hard. And I think a lot of times I find female entrepreneurs struggle with it even more so. And so I imagine that people are really excited. They want what I have to offer in my business. They're happy to pay me for that. And then I challenge myself to invite at least one person to buy from me that day. Just invite them, right? So it's a little bit of a mindset shift. So what all of this does is when you take time to visualize, when you imagine that great outcome that you want, and when you take care of your physical health, you do that in the morning, then you do take different steps during the day. Like if I didn't get up and do all those things, the next steps, if I just, got up, took a drink of my coffee, started email, and jumped right into work, sure, I would get some things done. I would get different things done than I do because I take the time to clear my mind. I take the time to take care of my body, and I take the time to imagine how amazing the next step in my business could be. So now that fuels me, and without even being really conscious of what the different steps are, I absolutely take different steps every day than I do if I'm not holding that vision. So I think taking care of yourself, number one, whatever that means for you, whether your physical self, whether that's a walk, whether that's going to the gym, whatever that is, and finding what kind of visualization works for you. Because even if you're not sure, if you get really, really quiet, your heart's going to open up and you're going to begin to see what's possible for you.
Yeah. And I think what's hitting me right now as you speak is holding that vision. And when you take that time for yourself in the morning to visualize it, to like think about what you want for the day, what you want for your future, it very clearly like changes your to-do list for the day of like, all right, well, I had this on my list, but this actually makes more sense right now. Here's what feels good. Here's what feels right. Here's what I need, what actions I can take right now to get closer to this vision that I'm holding for myself. And yeah, I am guilty of just starting my day sometimes without having that vision. I'm
One of
just
my
like, it's like I know I need to take the actions, so I just start going through the motions, but before I do that visualization. So that's a great reminder for me even to take that time for myself to like, all right, how do I want this day to go? And it might not go exactly according to plan or like, but I can put those steps in place to get even a little bit closer to it. And if tomorrow my vision is a little bit different, cool. My vision's going to be a little bit different and I'll work towards that. But it's not like something that you're creating this long-term thing and it's static. It can't change. It's immovable. It's something that is very bendable and can change how you change.
Yeah, so your to-do list really resonates with me. I'll grab this. I have this crazy planner. Anybody that works with me knows I like I am the planner girl. And I mean, this thing is filled out, right? And some things have been in here for a year that I know when I have to do them. What I have found over the last couple of months, I've gotten really, really focused on two things. What do I really want to do? And by that, I mean, I look at the thing on the list and I'm like, oh, that's so cool. I can't wait to do that. What do I want to do? And what is really going to get me closer to my ideal vision? And so when I come back from my walk, the very first thing I do is erase things off of my to-do list, because I'm the kind of person that will typically, and I've only been doing this for about a month or two, if it's on my list, it's come hell or high water, I'm getting it done because it's on the list. I need to check it off. I am a list maker. And that's all fine and good up to the point that you're now completing things that are actually not getting you closer to your goal. Or I think even worse, you're doing things that don't even matter. Like if I took this off the list, who would notice? Nobody. Well, you know what? It's coming off the list. So two things I've been focused on is how do I create more white space in my day so that I can think, so that I can be more strategic, so that I have time to dream. And what things do I just not like to do? Now, there's some things I don't like doing QuickBooks. I don't like it at all. And I need to do it. So it's on the list and it's not coming off. There are a lot of things every day, though, that I erase out of my plan. I just decide I'm not doing them. And it's very, very freeing. For those things that are left, I always challenge myself to say, okay, here's this thing. I don't love doing it. How can I make it easy? Like, does it really have to take 10 steps, or are there 3 steps I can take? Is it really going to take me 45 minutes, or can I do this? Like, what if I tried to do this in 10 minutes? How can I make it easy? And when you approach it that way, and this works in your corporate career too, by the way, there's meetings you don't have to have. There's meetings you don't have to attend. There are deliverables that you actually don't have to create. And you have all the power to look at that and say, this is not going to move me forward in my mission, my business, my career. Not doing this one. And then don't rush to fill that space up, because that's your strategic thinking time.
Yeah. How often do we take something off our list and immediately fill that void with something else?
Always. Because in our minds, progress is doing. Progress is also opening yourself up to dream, accepting help, inviting people to buy from you, being present in every single conversation that you have in your life, whether that's your work life or your personal life, and figuring out how you can help someone else achieve their goals. And if you focus on those things, your business is going to grow. It can't help but grow. Your career is going to move up. I was doing some coaching with a young leader last week, and we were talking about a change that she wanted to see happen in the organization. And I said, you can initiate change by figuring out how to make other people successful. Like, that is the number one way. Figure out what's important to that person. How can you help them be successful? And I always say this, I'm Oz behind the curtain in 90% of the work I do, whether that's in, the corporate setting, whether that's in my programs, whatever it is that I'm doing. Because first of all, I love helping people achieve the things that they want to achieve in their lives. But second of all, they don't need or want me to take control. I'm there to lift up. I'm there to support. And when they achieve their goals, I achieve my goals. So it's really, really powerful if you can move into that space where your job is lifting others. And when they succeed, you succeed right along with them. And I think really that is how we are going to grow the work that we do, grow our business, and people are going to be attracted to you because they sense that about you, right?
Yeah. I have often gotten asked, like, how will I know when I'm successful? Well, I'm successful now.
Yes.
Because for the exact reason that you said, when I see somebody else like winning and succeeding and like achieving what they wanted to do, it makes me feel so good. not necessarily even because I've helped them get to that point with whatever piece of the puzzle that they needed assistance with, but because like I'm an empath. But like I also like I want to be celebrating the wins. Like I want to be in the moment, and those things give me life and joy. And yeah, it's not always going to be sunshine and rainbows and like have things to like celebrate, but like it's those little baby steps that I'm like, yay, I'm really proud of that person for like taking action and doing the thing, or I can see that person's making a lot of progress. And it also, I want to use the word hope for lack of a better word. It gives me hope, that and belief that like, yes, we can create change. We can do the thing. We can put our mind to something and do what we want to do and like achieve our dreams. And so I get really excited and I feel successful just watching other people doing the hard work and making those things happen for themselves too. Because I'm very introverted, but I am still a people person. I am still a cheerleader. I still want to like make sure that everybody's doing the best that they can with what they have. And seeing everybody else win prompts me to be my own cheerleader too. It's a reminder. So I love that you said like that. um I lost my thought. The success that like people can have and like seeing people achieve it, and it just it hit me because I know I'm successful because like I can see other people having those wins.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and when you know what it is that lights you up, you use that in your visioning, and so you think about, what are the things that light me up? Like when I go to bed at night and it's been a really, really hard day. And this is advice that I give people who I work with that say, I don't really know what I want to do next. Or I don't know I know I want to start a business, but I don't know what I want it to be about, right? I hear you say I need to hold a vision. I don't know how to get one. If you sit down and you write down, like you go to bed at night, you're tired, it's been a long day, and you feel energized. What was it you were doing that day that left you feeling good, energized, like this was a good day? I worked hard and this was a great day. And that list is going to look different for everybody. And then you do the same thing in your personal life. And you say, on the weekends or in my free time, what are the activities I'm doing that leave me feeling good and energized? And when you look at that list, before you have a complete vision, imagine your days with more of those things in them. What does that look like? If I'm doing more of the things that light me up, what would I be doing? And your vision for your career and your business is going to form out of that. And a lot of times you can tie 2 or 3 of those pieces together and create a business out of that. So when I actually did this exercise when I was in corporate and I had an inkling that this gig wasn't going to last forever. And I did it like 3 years before I got laid off. So, I mean, I kind of could see the handwriting on the wall. And a couple of things that came up on that sheet were the speaking. I loved speaking at conferences, which is weird because there was a time in my life, like I didn't like standing up in front of 5 people. So, but I had progressed to the point that I loved it. And that was on my list. And connection with people. I love in-person connection. So that was on my list. There are a few other pieces. And before I knew what I wanted my business to fully be about, I knew those pieces needed to be part of it. So simply imagining what does a life look like with more of those things that fill me up is going to open up your ideas as to what you can do going forward. The other thing is when you look at your to-do list, look at it from the lens of what's on that list that lights me up. And sometimes there's nothing. Well, then that's not the right list. If connection is important to me, which it is, and I have no place on there that I'm connecting with anybody, what if I scheduled a virtual coffee? What if I connected with someone I hadn't seen in 6 months and met them at a cafe for lunch. Then all of a sudden that feels like a great day. So if you're struggling with, I don't really know right now, write that list. And then when you're walking, when you're meditating quietly, begin with a quiet 10, 15 minutes where you imagine what it would feel like and what you would be doing if you added more of those things that light you up in your day. And you'll be amazed at the ideas that flood in.
Yeah. And then rewrite that to-do list based on that.
Yeah.
'Cause,
Well, and it's funny, you'll naturally do that when you start crossing stuff out that
yeah.
that doesn't light you up, the things that, you don't want to do and don't need to do. You save that a lot of that space for the quiet reflective time, but you'll find that you are adding in more of the things that bring you joy. And when you do that, all of a sudden, wow, your dream life kind of shows up.
Yeah. I want to say thank you to Linda. Linda is somebody that, like, she calls it a pleasure list. It's no longer a to-do list. It's a
Yeah.
pleasure list. Like, it's all things that she wants to do that feel good. And I bring this up to say, like, we should all be creating our pleasure lists, because
Yes.
as you mentioned, if there's nothing on that list that lights us up that we are like wanting to do, then why is it on the list in the first place? And I also want to take it back, how you were talking about like going on the walks every morning to like clear your head and like reconnect with yourself and do that visualization. Um, I think 2 years ago or so, maybe even a little earlier than that, when we first connected through LinkedIn, like you were doing those 5-minute videos every morning, and it's, I love the direction that it's taken. You were like going on your walks in the morning and create those powerful 5-minute videos to like show people like the visualization in action. Like, and you had these prompts that you were giving your audience of uh like, are you doing this for yourself? Like, here's how you can do this. Here's how I've done it for myself. And every day the prompt was slightly different, but you stuck with it and you were like doing, and I love how that is now a strategic part of your business. Like, that is how you're helping people create the visualization, but it's also you're doing something that you love in your you time. So
Yeah.
it kind of has come full circle, because your personal and professional life, they overlap in this amazing way, and it feels really good. And for a lot of people, your personal and professional life are completely separate,
Mine
and they
used to
don't
be.
need to be. They can be, but they don't need to be. So I love how you've incorporated both,
Well,
because
thank you.
it's part of who you are.
Yeah, I used to keep them separate. And this is where I struggled with LinkedIn. So I'll say hi to all my corporate peeps that are watching. I kept it really separate. I was really buttoned up on LinkedIn. I was very climb the corporate ladder focused and careful. And I really had probably more than I needed, not probably, definitely more than I needed to, a sense that I was representing the company that I worked for, which you are in a sense, but you're also able to build your own brand on LinkedIn. It's not a corporate brand, it's me. And so when I stepped into full-time entrepreneurship, I struggle, and I still do. I get nervous every time I post on LinkedIn something that's really vulnerable. So on my Instagram uh, page, so it's right at Rise Sisters, RISE Sisters. I do walking videos every morning. And so if you go out to my Instagram, you'll see them there. They're 1 minute, and it's the same thing. It's the same thing I was doing on LinkedIn. I do 1 or 2 videos a day, and I've started repurposing them on LinkedIn. Here's the part that makes my heart kind of hitch. I have no makeup on. I'm out there in my hat. I am just talking about exactly what's on my mind that day for being an entrepreneur, or, increasing your revenue from speaking on the stage. Like, this is what's on my mind. This is what I did. And, here's what you can do. And I love doing it. The vulnerability, though, of going from buttoned up corporate professional to, I'm wearing a big t-shirt and my hair's in a ponytail with no makeup on, is a big transition, right? It's that getting out there and being really vulnerable and sharing. And today, my my entrepreneurial work and my life are no longer separate. They are very much integrated in a way that was not true out of my own choice and of the confines of being in a corporate environment. So yeah, people ask me, do you work on the weekends? Yeah, I do. I work differently on the weekends. I don't work as much on the weekends, and I choose to do that, right? Being mindful of the whole burnout thing, because that can happen, but it is definitely different for me to bring those together. And that is part of me living my dream life, because I like being a whole person. I like that so much better than here's this piece over here, and I'm going to be this here, and I'm going to be this over here. I like being able to be me in both parts of my
Yeah.
life and bringing them together. So
And
thank you for recognizing that.
yeah, and I think that's such a beautiful piece of the puzzle, is like, how can you feel most whole? And to the point about like feeling like you have to be all buttoned up and like professional on one platform versus another, or like who's gonna see you on LinkedIn versus some other social media platform. For me, they're one and the same, because I am who I am. And okay, maybe today I'm in like a tank top, tomorrow I might be in like a blazer. They're still very much me, and I adjust based on my mood, not and how I'm feeling, not based on anybody else's reaction to me. But like you're not shifting gears completely to be yourself one way and not show that side to other people. So I love that vulnerability that you like. Yes, it makes you a little bit uneasy, but you're doing it anyway. No makeup, but like I hardly ever wear any makeup because I don't like it. I have problematic skin. I just don't want to add in that much to it. And so, okay, but that's always been me. Maybe I put on a little blush or a little bit of eyeshadow when I like I'm wearing a dress and going to a fancy like party or something. But like beyond that, nope, just completely natural. And that's how I'm always going to show up. But I wasn't always that way. So it's how I'm always going to show up now because it's me.
Yeah, it
Nope.
feels so good, doesn't it? I mean, I listen, my heart still skips a beat when I posted a video on LinkedIn over the weekend. And I thought, okay, I put it on Instagram, and I'm like, this is a good message for my LinkedIn audience. And it like made me catch my breath, because I looked at it and I'm like, oh, I look like crap in that video. And I thought, okay, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. That's me on a walk in the morning. And what's really, really funny is, I shared with you that I struggle with that vulnerability on that platform. And in my mind, it's, what are my ex-corporate colleagues going to think of me? Right? Are they going to think, oh, look, she couldn't make it in corporate, or, oh, she wasn't good enough, so we had to lay her off. So now she's out trying to make her own way, and all of these like super negative things that spin through our minds, when the fact is, I don't think there's anybody actually out there thinking that. And if they are, it's not my problem anyway, right? And it's all that what if I think a lot of times that is the thing that stops us. And so when I was sharing with you earlier, action dissipates the fear. It does. Like right up until I posted that on Sunday, my heart was like, ah. And the second I posted, I'm like, yeah, it's out there, oh
Yeah.
well. And then the other thing is, if you can switch your mindset, and I work on this a lot to reframe that story, instead of what if my corporate colleagues see that and, they think, oh, she's not that successful. She's just trying to, I don't know, I'm making it up, right? She's just trying to look like she's successful. And I flip that what if story and I say, what if I post it and it's exactly what they needed? What if I post it and they're really proud of me? What if I post it and it touches somebody who's struggling with the same thing and helps them move forward? Like, how amazing will that be? So if we can flip that what if story just enough and take the action, now it's not so scary. I've been being much, much more open and vulnerable on LinkedIn, and it is getting easier. And I know that when I continue to do that, which I will, 6 months from now, we'll be talking and I'll be like, I'm over it. right? Like I kept doing it. I'm over it. Same thing with, keynote. Listen, I went from terrified to stand up in a Toastmasters meeting with 5 other people and give a 3-minute icebreaker to standing on a stage, delivering a keynote for 500 people, making $9 grand and loving every second of it. Well, okay, it is a little bit terrifying until you actually get on the stage, but loving the majority of it. And all of that happens by doing the thing you're afraid of, taking that step. And yeah. I didn't go from being afraid to talk in front of 5 people to talking in front of 500 people in a step. Like that's way too big, right? It's that continuing to go, oh, I'm afraid of that. I'm going to go take 1 step in. Oh, that wasn't so bad. I'm going to take 1 more step in. Yeah. And that's really how we make progress.
Yeah, like let me go now. I've conquered the 5 people. Let me go stand in front of 10, 15 people. Yes. See how that feels. Let me do it in front of 50 people. Does that, and get comfortable with that? Like, how does that feel? And you build up incrementally. I love those baby steps because you don't have to go from like 0 to 100 in one action.
And I think that is the main thing that stops people from living their dream lives. They have this big vision, and then in their minds, they think, oh, I can't get there. That's too big. I'm way back here. And that's way over here. That's too big for me. If you want to go from there to there tomorrow, chances are pretty slim. If you hold that vision, don't even really give yourself a timeline. Hold the vision and then do something every day. The things you do today are taking you somewhere. They can't not take you somewhere. Everything you do, this conversation between us is going to take us both somewhere.
Yeah.
And when we're not deliberate about the steps we take and where we want to go, you're just going to end up somewhere. So to get to that place you want to be, you just hold the vision. It will change the steps that you take. And you don't have to hold it constantly all day long, right? You set it in the morning and then you go about your business. Take the things off the list that aren't serving you, that you either really dislike or not moving you closer. Build in some quiet space and add more things that bring you joy. And before you know it, you are headed to that place that your heart's tugging you to be.
Yeah. And that somewhere doesn't need to be anywhere. Like it's got to be what feels good for you. I love that visualization and the constant, like the building it up of like little by little, you'll get there if you just keep doing the thing, and feeling out every day what's right for you. The other thing that I think, if you're afraid to take action or you're not sure what the next steps are and you're doing that what if thing, the way that I've reframed it is slightly same but different to the way that you've shifted the narrative to like, all right, well, instead of thinking that somebody might like, balk at like what I'm doing, well, maybe what if it's like helpful for the person, and you just reframe that. But the way that I approach it is like, all right, so what if that person does see it and doesn't like what I'm doing, so or they balk at it and like don't think that I can really like make this happen, or that I'm faking it just to like present this persona. So what? I'm still doing, as long as you know that you're still doing it for you, for the right reasons, for yourself, like, then that's all that matters. So whether you're approaching it from a, if this, then this, so what?
Yeah.
Change the way that you think about it.
Yeah. Sometimes the thing that we're most afraid, well, first of all, usually we're afraid of stuff it's never going to happen. I walk out in Phoenix and it's rattlesnake season. And so I'm careful of the rattles. Like I go for a walk and I'm looking, do I see a rattlesnake anywhere? As I'm walking, I could sit in my house and say, oh, I live in the desert and it's rattlesnake season, can't walk, because I could get bit, and stay in this house and not do that every morning. but I'm not going to do that because I can navigate the rattlesnakes. I've been walking out here for 5 years. I've never seen a rattlesnake on my walk, but still I know they're out there. So I can either let it stop me, or I can go, I can take the steps, and I can be smart about it on the way. The truth is, I'm probably never going to get bit by a rattlesnake. And the thing that we are afraid of is probably never going to happen anyway. And even if it did, I put a post out one time, and this guy, oh my God, it was awful. He slammed that post, and he was demeaning and unkind and all of the things. And I remember for a second, I read it and I thought, what did I do wrong? Like my heart just stopped. I'm like, did I write it wrong? No, I wrote it right. And I'm like, this isn't about me. This is about him. And do you know what happened? That post went insane. It's probably my post with the most views, the most interaction. It was a couple of years ago. And at the end, I ended up getting more visibility because of it. I didn't look bad. The guy that was commenting on it, looked like a jerk. It was never about me. So when we think about that, like, okay, what if that happened? Well, then what would I do? And then you answer that. And then what would I do? And then you answer that. And before you know it, you're like, oh, that's it? Like, that's not so bad.
Yeah. And it might not have been the post that he needed to see that particular day.
Apparently.
But it landed with so many, it resonated with so many others. So what he did do for you though was like, right, since he felt like he needed to insert himself and comment in the first place. Okay, all he did was add to like your visibility, because he then, LinkedIn promotes it and shares it with like other people in their network, and you expanded your reach. If he didn't want to do that, he shouldn't have said anything. So like he did you a favor.
He did.
So if he wasn't the one for that post, so what?
Exactly. And I think too, the scary things we're afraid will happen a lot of times, push us to a different place. Brene Brown did her first TED Talk, and I cracked up because I listened to her second talk, and she said after she did her first talk, she got so afraid because she shared so much about vulnerability, and she was having coffee with a friend, and she said, we had to break into the TED servers and steal that tape back. That cannot go public because I don't know what I was thinking. It was way too vulnerable. And her friend's like, Brene, we can't do that. And she's like, oh my God, like, what if 10,000 people see that? I'll be ruined. And now we laugh about it, right? Because millions and millions of people have seen it. And it catapulted her career to a new place. So the thing she was most afraid of was that people were going to see that. Like they were actually going to see that. And yes, that happened. And the outcome was completely opposite of the thing that she was afraid of. Yeah. So, if we move forward and something happens that we don't expect, and it's that thing we've been dreading, well, then it catapults to something else. My layoffs, another example of that. I was afraid I was going to get laid off. I thought about it a couple of years before. I could kind of see the service industries were getting removed from the company that I worked for. And I was afraid of that, right? And it felt like a bad thing. And I felt a lot of shame around it when it happened. And I'm like sitting here today going, hallelujah. Like I would not be living this life today. I'd be living a different life. It would still be a good one. It wouldn't be this one. And I am in love with this life. So those things that we think in the moment are bad are oftentimes the push that we needed to go do something different.
Yeah. And if like, I'm going back to the post that you're talking about, like if that's the worst thing that could happen was that person's like comment, all right, if that's the worst thing, then cool, we will move on. And like, how do we reframe that? How do we move on from this? Like, what's the next step? If that's the worst thing that could happen, that was realized of like, all right, it didn't land. And you had that fear of like, did I do something wrong? No, you didn't. But
Yeah.
if this was what I was afraid of, okay, how do we move forward? And the example of Brene Brown and her first like TED talk and being afraid after the fact of like, oh no, like what did I like? How did I do? Like, what was I thinking? You planned for this. You wanted this. You can, don't just, nobody just goes up there and gives a TED talk like willy nilly. There's like so much planning involved and like behind the scenes stuff and practice that goes into it. You know your stuff. You know what you're going to say. You know how you're going to say it. It's that second guessing yourself. The last, like after the fact of like, should I have done it? Could I have done this better? Should I have done it differently? What was I thinking? And I feel it all the time too. But you know what? We have to get over ourselves, because if we second guess ourselves to the point of like not doing the thing or not, or holding back because we're afraid that everybody else is going to not appreciate the hard work that we've just put in and like celebrate our wins with us, I promise people are not that like caught up in our daily lives. Like,
No,
so
they're
stop
focused on
second
them.
guessing yourself.
Well, and here's the thing. People are focused on themselves. Just like I'm worried, what are people going to think when I post something on LinkedIn? Nothing, because they're thinking about them. They're thinking about their day. They're thinking about, the things that they want to achieve in their lives. They're not worried about why Carla didn't put makeup on before she went on a walk to do a video. They don't care about that one bit. And we because this is our lives, we get caught up in that and it stops us. I think, the biggest thing we can do is leave it all on the table, and leave this world having given it all. I lost my mom in December, and she was an amazing woman. She gave every day everything that she had. She started a YouTube channel. She's got like, I don't know, 10,000 subscribers on a cooking channel. Even when my dad passed away, I'd go over and she would be in the middle of her grief and she would look at me and say, we have to find something to be joyful about today. What's that going to be? And she taught me so much about living a life with no regrets. We should spend it all, spend the minutes, spend our love, spend our passion while we're here. And that's really how we create our dream lives, is by not letting the what ifs and the fear stop us, because when we do that, we do end up with regrets. So if you can live every day and go, hey, I gave it my all today, and I'm one step closer to the things that I want, you will get to the end of your life and be like, hey, I did it. That was a life well lived.
Yeah. And even if you get to the end of the day and you're like, I didn't give it all I could, but I did the best I could.
Yeah.
Then that's great too. Yeah.
Some days, speaking of the grief process, like the best I could do was, get up, maybe take a shower, and make sure I ate twice a day. And for that day, that was giving it my all. Like every day is going to look different. So it's not about achieving and going and doing every single day. It's about what can I do today? What does a great day today look like? And you will arrive at that place where you say, wow, look what I was able to achieve.
Yeah. And if you can live that dream life every single day, then you're doing it.
Yeah. When I go for my walk in the morning, I'm so glad that it's a thing to wear ear pods, because I talk to myself and I often think people see me and they, oh, it's okay. They think I'm on the phone, not that I'm insane. And I'll repeat things out loud. And one of the things that I repeat every morning when I'm walking is, this is my dream life. I am out walking today. I'm able to walk. This is amazing. I am the CEO of my business. And I have so many things that I'm going to do today that are going to bring me joy. Like, this is an amazing day. And I really believe that, this is my dream life. Is it going to be different in 5 years? Yeah. Will it be even more amazing? Yeah, it certainly is. It doesn't mean that it's not my dream life right now, today.
Yeah.
You know, we can't let that achievement or that goal mentality stop us from recognizing that today's a pretty spectacular day. And like my mom always said, what are we going to find today to be joyful in? What are the things I can add to my list that are going to fill my cup and bring me joy today?
I want to celebrate that. Oh, I love a good confetti drop moment.
Yeah.
So I'm
Let's
gonna drop some confetti because, yeah, yeah. What are you gonna do today that's gonna bring you joy? What does a good day look like? We all need to be more mindful of that and remember that every single day. Um, today, something that I don't want to say her name out loud, but when I to my phone or my assistant, my home device, um, her name starts with a G and ends with an E. Uh, she says, "Good morning, Shell. Today's a good day to have a good day." And that's what I've programmed her to tell me because it's like it just starts my day on a good note. Whether I'm still wanting to go back to sleep or roll back over, like stay in bed a little bit longer, or I'm just ready to pop out of bed and just get the day going. It doesn't matter because it's the first thing that I hear when I get up, when I open my eyes, and I'm like, oh yeah, today is a good day to have a good day. What am I gonna do? So I love that. Yeah, and I don't want to say it out loud because then she'll be like, I don't understand what you're trying to say. Can you say it differently? Or she'll give me search results on something that I'm not asking for. So yeah, today's a good day to have a good day. Um, Carla, where can people find you if they want to learn more about like um the Rise Sisters or like any of the ways that they can work with you or get paid from the stage? How can people find you?
couple of different ways. So you'll see me on LinkedIn with no makeup taking my walks. So you can come connect with me on LinkedIn. I am there. And in the show notes and also in my LinkedIn profile, I've got a link. So if you click on that link, you'll see a bunch of options, including how to come to my Instagram at the very bottom. So the things that you'll find in there, I do have some free resources. So we've got our Sparkle and Rise community for kind and ambitious women, and e-magazine that we deliver every other month is there. You can come in, join those things. I think I talked a little bit about the membership. So the membership for kind and ambitious female entrepreneurs, there's a link there for that, as well as the Get Paid from the Stage program. That one starts in October, and it's a 6-week cohort. And there's a couple of other things in there, but I use Linktree, so you can just go in and kind of scroll down and click the things that you're interested to, and it will direct you there. And then, connect with me on LinkedIn. I love connecting with people and, supporting each other. So connect with me over on LinkedIn, and you can see my crazy walks in the morning and other things.
And going for walks in nature is definitely like something that I like to do, whether I can do it first thing in the morning. Not so much, but maybe this has inspired me to maybe like record myself while doing like some little walks for myself to reconnect. And the same way that you start and you record yourself and you give your thoughts for the day and had previously been posting and sharing those visualizations and your goals and just like being mindful of your surroundings and stuff. Yeah, it prompts me to like record in a different way because I am getting more and more comfortable with video, and I do want to be more vulnerable and show myself in different ways and doing the things that I love to do. So you've inspired me to do more video in real time in nature, and doing more of the things that I love, which for me includes live streaming, having these conversations for change with amazing guests like yourself, and also like grounding myself outside.
Oh, I love that.
And maybe there's a way that I can join those things together. Yeah.
You could even live stream while you walk. I mean, the other thing is that goes back to my how do I make it easy, right? Because I'm like, okay, I want to post on social, want to get my brand and my message out there. How can I make it easy? Well, if I don't worry about my hair and makeup, that's easy. if I think about what it is I want to talk about and distill it down to a minute on Instagram, I can do that while I'm walking. That's easy. And then I can repurpose it. And so it, we can overproduce everything. And sometimes just making it easy is the way to take those steps we were talking about.
Oh yeah, I am no stranger to overcomplicating things for myself. So certainly, yeah, that's something for me to think about. I think the biggest challenge, and without going down another rabbit hole, how to stay connected to Wi-Fi or internet or like a good strong connection while doing that in nature. But those things can be worked out too. So yeah, I'm gonna noodle on this a little bit longer and see how I can make it easy for myself. I will certainly drop all of Carla's links, the link tree, her LinkedIn, her Instagram, all the things in the show notes and in the chat here. Wherever you are tuning in from, make sure to let us know what resonated with you today. And if you want to see more of these conversations, tune in next week for another Operation Separation. Make sure to follow Shell Station for more ways to separate yourself. And look, we can all get stuck not taking the action. It is big and scary, but if we can do those little things and hold the vision and do something every day, then we will, as Carla said, be living our dream life in no time. And it is remarkable how like one day we're here and the next day we're like, oh shit, we're doing the thing. So this is happening, and I look forward to many, many more of these conversations. Thank you so much, Carla, for being here today. Thank you for anyone who's tuned in and joining us. Catch us next week, and we'll say bye for now.